Welcome to Project 52, 52 videos in
52 days.
52 days. So today we want to talk to you about how do you start a 10th dot ministry. First, we need to define what is a 10th dot ministry.
What's a 10th dot ministry?
Yeah. So for a decade, we were actually both involved in youth ministry in the local church. 5 years we both volunteered, and then I was a youth pastor for 5 years. And when I started there, I started a ministry called Surprise Night. And the first time I did Surprise Night, we did 7 of them. We had about 20 people come to it. The next one, 75. The next one, 150. Then it went up 500. The last one we had was 1,200 people showed up. We couldn't hold at the church anymore. It was a crazy season. And I remember during that season, I went to a friend, a mentor of mine, and I said, look, I have this idea. And he was like, describe this idea to me. And I'm telling him about it and trying to figure out how do I do the things that God's put on my heart, this thing called Surprise Night. And this is what he said. He put 9 dots on a napkin. So in a square, right? Like this. I think that might have been 10. But in a square, he put 9 dots. And he said, Danny, I want you to put the 10th dot. And I looked at him just going like,
wherever you put it.
It's not going to fit.
Right.
Yeah. And so I put it like way on the other side of the napkin. And he circled it and he said, Danny, you have a 10th dot ministry. You're going to have to trust Jesus in the unknown. You're going to have to follow him into the unknown because there's not a pattern for here's how to do Surprise Night. Here's how to
fit the box.
Yeah, it doesn't fit inside this nice little neat box. And sometimes we have ministries that don't fit into the box, or we have an idea that we don't know how to develop this ministry because there's nobody to lead the way. God's put something on our heart that's unique. So we want to look at 10 ideas of how you can start a 10th dot ministry, something that's completely out of the box.
Like sharing the gospel through illusions, like magic.
Yeah, there's a couple
kind of
people that have
outside.
gone before me that I was able to kind of pick their brains, but doing magic as a ministry, there wasn't somebody say, hey, do you have the book on how to, do magic as a ministry? How do you do that?
So assuming that you've prayed about this ministry that you're about to start and assuming that that's on your heart and that God wants you to do that, here are some of the tips, not necessarily in any order. The first one would be seek wise counsel. Find people that you know, love, trust, ask them questions, share your vision with them, and I think be responsive to their feedback. Even if they tell you, no, your idea is crazy, which we've had that and had to listen to people cautioning us. And maybe they tell you no, and maybe you don't like that. But it's still, if you trust them, then that's something you need to listen to and take into account.
The second thing is this. Use your gifts and your calling. There are certain things that God has given you the ability that you're extremely good at, that he has gifted you in. And then you have to figure out what are the things that he has called you to do, right? And as you combine those together, you're going to be right where God needs you to be. In Romans 11:29, it said God's gifts and his calling are irrevocable. Process that verse today because God has something in store for you with that as you're starting a ministry for him.
Number 3, make a business plan. If business isn't your thing, which definitely wasn't ours when we started, for sure, make sure you find people who do have that gifting and can help you come up with a business plan. Whether you're needing funding or not, there needs to be a plan and a vision for how this is all going to unfold. How is money going to come in? How is money going to go out? And what are you spending it on? What's it? Out is the easy part to spend it. But how's the money going to come in? How are you going to keep track of it? Not saying we are experts in this. We've learned a lot from our mistakes along the way. So we are sharing our wisdom with you and make your business plan from the beginning.
Number 4 is this. Let's talk money, right? Kim had just mentioned a little bit of the money side of it, but I think money is an important thing to talk about. When we first started this, we weren't sure, like, how are we going to make money as a ministry, right? Here's the thing, is you have to ask two things. One is this, is after like 12 months, 24 months, I would say max, does your ministry have the ability to sustain itself? If it does, there are different opportunities that you're afforded in that could be part of the plan. Then if long-term strategy, your plan is to have funding and support from others. Like, those are two different ways of how you're going to start your ministry. One is you're really trying to get things off the ground, and you might need, seed money and initial money to start up, but then you have a plan of how it's going to sustain itself. And then the other thing is we need other people to support. And so you need to share your story. If that's you, there's some great ways. And if you YouTube, if you go onto Google, the YouTube, if you look up how do you share your story, you're going to find some great ways to share your story in some unique ways that will encourage people to give and really have the opportunity to support the vision and the plan that God's put on your heart.
As you start your ministry, make sure you don't allow yourself for excuses. And what I mean by that, I think something that you've done really well, or we've done really well, is having that balance of family, taking a Sabbath just because we run a ministry from home, or that yes, it's our full-time job and emails need to be answered and all of that. But God's going to bless that so much more when we honor Him by taking that Sabbath, taking that break, and you've still put our family first, even
God
through.
First.
Sorry, of course, God first, second family, and then the ministry, and that's been evident in your life, and I know our kids would attest to that as well.
Number 6 is this: create the Houdini Effect. What's the Houdini Effect? I've done underwater escapes, straitjacket escapes, a hangman's noose, a Russian roulette, just crazy escapes over the years. And with each one of those, you have to have laser-like focus. When you're underwater, you need to know exactly what you need to do, and you don't have much time to do it. When you're starting a ministry, you don't have a lot of time. You need laser-like focus. You need that Houdini perspective that there is only one way out, and it's by God's grace that you're going to get there. So pray, stay focused, and know that God's going to carry you through.
Number 7, nobody enjoys failure, but if you're starting a ministry, it's obviously a possibility. I really like the way that you share a story about Peter in the Bible.
Yeah, one of the stories I've shared as I've spoken around the country is the story of Peter walking on the water, right? He had to make that step out of the boat into the unknown, right? He's walking on the water toward Jesus. We don't know how far he went. He could have gone 10 feet. It could have been 100 feet. We just don't know. But at some point, he begins to sink. He prays one of the best prayers ever in the Bible: Lord, save me, right? You can't take anything out of that prayer. It's perfect. But then this, I love this, is then Jesus immediately saves them, picks them up, and they go back. Here's the thing, is I would rather be on the water with Jesus and fail 1,000 times than be in the boat watching a show. So I'd encourage you to get out of the boat and do the things that God's called you to do. Number 8 is you've got to hustle, you've got to be hungry, and you've got to stay humble. Let me explain those 3. It's going to take work. Every day you have to work. You have to go through a lot of difficult things to get the ministry off the ground and then to sustain it, right? And then you've got to stay hungry to learn, hungry to grow, hungry to take your ministry to the next level, and then you've got to stay humble. We've had the opportunity to do some crazy, awesome, God given opportunities with some of the best artists, speakers in the world. It's been amazing. But we never want to elevate ourselves or our ministry. We want to stay humble and stay in the position that God's designed us to be so that we can lift him up.
Absolutely. All right, number 9, logistics. And it's not the pretty stuff, but it is totally necessary. If you're going to have any contracts, make sure you get a lawyer to at least look them over, make sure that it's done properly. Find somebody you trust, an accountant that can help with setting up the business, whether you're setting up a profit, nonprofit, an LLC, whichever one is best for you. Just make sure that you do it in a way that legitimizes your ministry.
The last one's this, is stay fit. What do I mean by that?
Oh no.
Stay spiritually fit, emotionally fit, and physically fit. It's difficult. Ministry's hard. Ministry's a struggle. Ministry's painful at times. And we need to be spiritually close to God, connecting with him, carving out time to be with him. We need to be emotionally fit. There's things that are draining ministry-wise, but we want to have the emotional stability to be able to offer our best to other people. And the more we're healthy that way, Kim loves to talk about counsel and counsel a lot of people, is if you need counseling to get emotionally fit, do it.
Do it.
And then the one Kim didn't want to hear is physically fit, right? Is I would encourage you to stay fit some way. Get to eat right, to do some sort of exercise. You do a little bit of exercise. I probably do more.
Bit.
Probably do more.
You do a lot more.
But the thing is this is we don't. We need all three of these to be in place to have a long-term effective ministry. So these are some of the tips. This isn't conclusive in any way, but we wanted to encourage you today. If you're starting your own ministry, we want to be there for you in the journey. So put something in the comment section before. If you have a question, we'd love to help you out in any way we can. And also, if you're enjoying this channel, please subscribe. We'd love to have you help us on this journey of just reaching more people and encouraging more people and blessing other people. So thank you for being a part of it today.
Thank you.
All right.